Erev Tov, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun, and you are watching Israeli News Live, updating you on the top stories that we're dealing with, the conflict between Hezbollah out of Lebanon and the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, this evening. Tensions are still high from what we understand. There's relatively somewhat of a calm on the northern border tonight. After, of course, 2 IDF soldiers were killed and 7 of them have been wounded. In a very twisted way of fate, maybe you might call it, Hezbollah calls for a calm today after the killing of 2 Israeli soldiers and wounding 7. You might call it tit for tat. They feel like they're pretty much even now. They got 2 Israelis and wounded 7 of theirs, so they're a little up on the game, whereas Israel had killed 2 of theirs last week in during a bombing in Syria, on the Syrian border side, which killed 1 Iranian general, 1 leading Hezbollah figure, along with 5 other Lebanese soldiers. So the article stated here in Israel National News by Moshe Cohen was written, says, despite a message from Hezbollah Wednesday night that it was not seeking to increase tensions with Israel, security officials in Israel had said that they would respond to Hezbollah attack on the IDF patrol earlier, at a time and a place that suits the IDF. The spokesperson said Israel would not let the attack that killed 2 IDF soldiers earlier Wednesday go unanswered. The official said the 2 IDF soldiers were killed earlier Wednesday when Lebanese terror group fired anti-tank missiles at 2 IDF vehicles in the Hardov area. That's on northern border there with Lebanon. The 2 soldiers that were killed were identified as Major Yochai Kalangel and Sergeant Dor Nini. The IDF spokesperson office said 6 casualties in light to moderate condition were taken to Zev Hospital in Safat. Additional casualties were evacuated to the Ramban Hospital. The IDF vigorously denied Hezbollah claims that an IDF soldier had been kidnapped, and Lebanese report later confirmed that Hezbollah had failed to capture an Israeli soldier. Prime Minister Netanyahu also stated in this here Wednesday that parties responsible for the attack on Hardov earlier in the day that claimed the lives of 2 IDF soldiers would pay the full price for their actions. Netanyahu made comments Wednesday evening before a meeting of top army and government officials discussing the attack by Hezbollah terror earlier Wednesday. We actually also were able to stumble on a little article there on LBC International. It is a Lebanon website there out of Lebanon, a news site. And we were able to catch a little bit of the video footage, which you've been watching already, of the type of missiles that were used against Israel yesterday. The missiles that were being used are a Russian-made Kornet anti-tank missile. This is what Hezbollah is using. It says on their site there, the Israeli military convoy was targeted by Hezbollah with a number of Russian Kornet anti-tank missiles. This type of missile is designed specifically for tank battles and is considered among the most powerful anti-tank missiles that are made by the Russian army there. It's very interesting that they're using Russian-made missiles. Of course, we know that Russia deals heavily with arming, working cooperatively with Iran, which they signed a military agreement pact with them recently. They have also been very strong in arming Syria in the past with Bashar Assad and his regime, and of course these weapons are smuggled into Lebanon for Hezbollah to use as well. So Israel has certainly had every right to be able to attack any suspected weapons transports that are going into Lebanon from Syria, knowing that these weapons would only be used against Israeli military as well as civilians, because Hezbollah, like Hamas out of Gaza, has no regard for life whatsoever. Anyway, we will keep you up to date as the story develops. According to one Israeli general that spoke on Israel National News today, he did say that people should go back about their normal day-to-day life. He said this will be a long battle. We're digging in, we're preparing. And he says we know it's not going to end soon. So at the moment, there seems to be a little lull of quiet in the north, waiting for the next bit of violence that will come out of this. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. with Israeli News Live. Laila Tov.